Saquon Barkley is one of the best running backs in the NFL. Despite what his Madden 21 rating might say, Barkley is one of the top talents in the league entering just his third professional season. But the Giants' young stud running back is not perfect. Saquon does have certain flaws in his game and a few external factors that are holding him back. Once Saquon Barkley fixes these flaws, there is nothing stopping him from being the best running back in the NFL and one of the best of all time. Welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm Anthony, and today we are going to be breaking down the film on Saquon Barkley's 2019 season. Saquon Barkley spent much of the 2019 season injured. Barkley suffered a high ankle sprain in Week 3 that left him sidelined for only 3 games. However, that injury lingered around until the end of the year. Once he returned to the field, it was evident that Saquon's ankle was still bothering him. Take this Week 7 matchup with the Cardinals, for example. This was Saquon's first game back from injury. In this game, it appeared that Barkley tweaked his ankle injury once again, indicating that he came back from this injury too soon. Tweaking his ankle in Week 7 was something that Saquon mentioned at the end of the season. After the season, Barkley mentioned on Instagram Live with PGA star Brooks Koepka that the injury was nagging and that it was tough to deal with. Despite playing through that injury, Saquon Barkley was still a force to be reckoned with in 2019. He still managed to top 1,000 rushing yards in only 13 games, while also totaling 1,441 yards from scrimmage. Tackling Saquon Barkley is nearly impossible. He has a rare combination of size, speed, power, and quickness that makes him one of the toughest players to tackle in the NFL. In Saquon's first season as a pro, this was evident. According to Pro Football Focus, Barkley totaled 71 forced missed tackles in 2018, which was 11 more than any other running back. But Barkley's tackle-breaking ability did not dissipate after his rookie season. According to Pro Football Focus, Saquon avoided more tackles last season than he did in his 2018 rookie season, despite 44 fewer attempts. On the screen is a perfect example of Saquon Barkley's lateral agility. A run play designed to go up the middle. Number 50 for the Packers, Blake Martinez, does an excellent job filling the hole and forcing Saquon to take an alternate route. Forced to bounce the ball outside, Saquon is met in a one-on-one tackle situation with number 38 for the Green Bay Packers, Tramon Williams. In wet and snowy conditions, Saquon Barkley is still able to cut on a dime and make Tramon miss. Despite having the ball in his right hand, Barkley plants with his right foot and executes a jump cut to his left. Tramon Williams is still able to get a hold of Saquon Barkley, but Saquon's strong legs and powerful running style allows him to absorb the contact and run right through it. This play against the Cowboys in Week 1 is another perfect example. As soon as this play begins, the Cowboys have the Giants beat. Nate Solder and John Halapio both miss their assignments and allow Cowboys defenders into the backfield. For most running backs, this is a dead play and a loss of yards. But for Saquon, this is an opportunity to make something out of nothing. Barkley quickly jump cuts to his left to avoid contact. He is then able to keep his balance by executing a spin move. Barkley comes out of the spin move and is met head-on with a defensive back for another one-on-one tackling situation. Saquon lowers his shoulder into the defender, remains in a squat position to maintain a low center of gravity, and spins off of the contact to leave the defender in the dust. As Saquon works his way up the field, he finds himself in a 2-on-1 situation. Barkley recognizes that he will not be able to get away from both Xavier Woods and Leighton Vander Esch, so instead, he figures out a way to gain just a few extra yards. Barkley stutter steps, then lunges down and towards Leighton Vander Esch's bottom half. This smart move turned this 2-on-1 into a 1-on-1. Saquon protected his body and the football while gaining a valuable extra 2 yards. In 352 touches during his rookie season, Saquon Barkley never fumbled the football. Barkley had not fumbled the ball since his sophomore season at Penn State. As a junior, Saquon did not fumble on 271 touches. Barkley went over 623 touches in his career without fumbling the football. In 2019, his streak was finally broken as Saquon fumbled once in 269 touches. That fumble came in Week 1 against the Cowboys. It was recovered by the Giants, and on the very next play, Saquon ripped off a 59-yard run down the left sideline. Saquon has elite contact balance and a wide array of ball carrier moves that he uses to break tackles. The stiff arm, the spin move, the hurdle, the juke, the jurtle, and of course, his pure speed. Saquon's multitude of moves and high awareness makes it impossible for defenders to predict his next move and figure out how to stop him. As previously mentioned, Saquon Barkley is not a perfect player. He does have flaws in his game. Barkley's main flaw is his inconsistent vision. There are times when Saquon blatantly misses a huge hole to run through. There are other times when Saquon has a hole and chooses not to take it as he searches for a home run play. His vision is not terrible by any means, and it is not always bad, but these plays happen more often than they should, and in order for Saquon to take his game to that next level, he needs to improve his vision. This clip comes from the Giants' Week 15 matchup with the Dolphins in 2019. This was one of Saquon's best games of his career, but there was still a moment or two in this matchup where Barkley's vision was inconsistent, like the clip currently on the screen. As this play begins, you will notice a huge hole opens up on the left side of the line. This was mostly thanks to tight end Scott Simonson, who threw an excellent block on the inside linebacker at the second level. But John Halapio and Nate Solder also did an excellent job sealing off their men and opening up this hole. Barkley had this hole to the left, but instead put his head down and ran right into the back of his teammate for a minimal gain. This could have been a first down run if Saquon found this hole. This play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Week 3 is another example of Saquon's inconsistent vision. Barkley takes an inside zone handoff aimed towards the left side of the line. Left guard Will Hernandez does an excellent job on this play, gaining leverage on his man, turning him around and sealing him off for Saquon to have a huge hole to run through. Instead, Saquon completely misses this big hole to the left and looks for a cutback lane up the middle. Barkley finds a small hole up the middle but is quickly tackled for a minimal gain on the ground. Had he went the direction that this play was designed to go, Saquon would have had a much larger gain on the ground. On this play against the Green Bay Packers, tight end Caden Smith does an excellent job opening up this hole on the left side in tandem with left tackle Nate Solder. Saquon seems to be headed for that hole, but then changes his mind and tries to cut back up the middle. He then runs right into the back of Nate Solder and allows himself to be tackled from behind around the line of scrimmage. I'm not exactly sure what Saquon saw to scare him away from that big hole, if anything at all. It is highly possible that Barkley never saw the hole, but it was a hole that he should have seen, and one that he should have taken. While there were plays where Saquon's vision held him back, nothing held Saquon back more than his offensive line and his offensive coordinator in 2019. John Halapio and Spencer Pulley struggled whenever they were on the field. According to my tracking, 164 of Saquon's 217 attempts were designed to go up the middle, either behind the center or behind one of the guards. When the Giants run the ball up the middle 63% of the time, according to Football Outsiders, they are relying on their center position to hold things together. Rarely did the center position make a positive impact on a running play for the Giants in 2019. On the screen are numerous examples of John Halapio being a complete liability in the Giants' rushing attack. These next clips are from the Giants' Week 10 matchup with the New York Jets. This was by far Saquon Barkley's worst game of his career so far. Saquon ran the ball 13 times for a total of 1 rushing yard. However, this poor performance was not Saquon's fault. According to my tracking, the Giants ran the ball under center 7 times and out of the shotgun 6 times. The Giants used pre-snap motion on 7 of these snaps and only ran the ball outside to the C-gap 4 times. The other 9 rushing attempts were designed to go up the middle. Many fans criticized Pat Shurmur's play calling in this game, and it certainly could have been better, but the true reason Saquon was shut down in this game was the offensive line's atrocious performance. This play is a perfect example. The Giants are set up in the I formation, using fullback Elijah Penny as a lead blocker. Pat Shurmur calls a halfback toss to the right side. Right tackle Nick Gates' job is to seal off the edge rusher, while Kevin Zeitler gets to the second level to clear a path for Barkley. Spencer Pulley is meant to block the 2-eye tech number 95. Chad Slade, filling in for an injured Nate Solder at left tackle, was meant to block the other 2-eye, which he did. Will Hernandez's job was to get to the second level and execute a zone block, ultimately taking out the inside linebacker, number 44. Instead, Hernandez helped Slade block number 97, leaving number 44 with a free lane to Saquon in the backfield. The next play is another great example of the offensive line's failure to execute in Week 10. On this play, the Giants are running an outside zone handoff to the right side. Many fans criticized Pat Shurmur after this game for not running the ball outside. Usually that is a fair criticism, but in this game, the offensive line severely limited Pat Shurmur's playbook. On this play, the guards are once again zone blocking at the second level. Nick Gates is meant to seal off the edge as Saquon follows Zeitler to the second level. All Spencer Pulley has to do is get in front of the one tech and seal him off to open up the hole. Pulley fails and completely kills this play. A clear lane for Saquon Barkley was laid out on this play. Had Pulley sealed off his man, Barkley would have had a nice hole between Pulley and Gates to run right through with Zeitler, Hernandez, and Golden Tate in front of him as lead blockers. This play could have been a huge gain on the ground, but instead it was a loss of yards. This poor offensive line play was not exclusive to the Week 10 matchup with the Jets, and it was not exclusive to the center position either. This was a theme throughout the entire season across the entire offensive line. Saquon will not be able to reach his full potential until the Giants have a decent offensive line in front of him. The Giants do not only need an improved offensive line for Saquon, but they also need an improved offensive scheme. One area in particular that the Giants should improve on is their usage of pre-snap motion. Saquon Barkley greatly benefited when play calls utilized pre-snap motion in 2019. One of Saquon's best performances came in Week 15 against Miami. Saquon had 24 rushing attempts in that game. The Giants used pre-snap motion on 17 of those 24 attempts. Barkley finished the game with 112 yards and 2 touchdowns. The next week, Barkley topped this performance. Against Washington in Week 16, Saquon had 22 rushing attempts. The Giants used pre-snap motion on 18 of those 22 attempts, leading to 189 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. In games where the Giants used pre-snap motion minimally, Saquon rushed for significantly fewer yards. Against the Cowboys in Week 9, Saquon ran the ball 14 times for only 28 yards. The Giants used pre-snap motion on only 6 of his 14 attempts. Another example is the Giants' Week 12 matchup with the Bears. In that game, Saquon had 17 rushing attempts with only 4 rushing plays that utilized pre-snap motion. Barkley totaled only 59 rushing yards on those 17 attempts and 0 touchdowns. In the Giants' Week 14 overtime matchup with the Eagles, Barkley had 17 rushing attempts. Pre-snap motion was used on only 6 of those attempts. Barkley finished the game with 66 yards and 0 touchdowns. While Barkley surely can find success without pre-snap motion, it helps him and every other running back in the league to utilize pre-snap motion. According to ESPN, the Giants used pre-snap motion only on 5% of snaps, ranking 27th in the NFL. The teams with the best rushing attacks in the NFL utilize pre-snap motion at the highest percentages. The Ravens utilized pre-snap motion on 34% of their plays and led the NFL with 206 rushing yards per game, according to ESPN. The Texans used pre-snap motion 19% of the time, the third most, and the 49ers used pre-snap motion 18% of the time, the fourth most. The 49ers had the second most rushing yards per game in the NFL this year, and the Texans ranked 9th. Pre-snap motion has led to increased success on the ground in the NFL, and it is something that the Giants should utilize more in 2020 to get the most out of Saquon Barkley. Luckily for Saquon Barkley, the Giants made an excellent hiring at the offensive coordinator position this offseason. Jason Garrett might not have been a great head coach in Dallas, but he has always been an excellent offensive coordinator, and he has always had a top-tier offensive scheme and rushing attack during his time in Dallas. Garrett's emphasis on 12 personnel, 21 personnel, pre-snap motion, and a run-first mentality will open things up for Saquon Barkley and allow him to break out in 2020. Saquon does have a few flaws in his game, but they are minor. He is one of the best running backs in the NFL, and there's no doubt about that. It is scary to think of what Saquon Barkley will be able to do in 2020 with an improved offensive line, an improved offensive scheme, and nothing left to hold him back from dominating the league. Thank you for watching this Saquon Barkley film breakdown by me, Anthony Rivardo, and Fireside Giants, an Empire Sports Media production. Be sure to subscribe for more film breakdowns just like this one, a ton of excellent New York Giants content and NFL content. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.